Good afternoon, everyone. Today I will be discussing one of the most difficult situations that I have faced in my professional work environment. In our everyday tasks, we're often faced with many different kinds of issues. Being organized as well as knowing how to prioritize is very important, as this can save you a lot of headaches down the line. My particular situation started on a Monday morning when I was called into a meeting with two of my immediate managers. They informed me that I would be having a shift in my team in the next few days. This shift would mean that I would be losing two of my seasoned colleagues and I would have to take on a new recruit. I do have to point out that the new recruit had never had any previous experience in SAP, or procurement for that matter. I must say that I did protest the change as I had very reliable and well trained teammates in my group already. The reason why I protested was because, as many teams already are, we were backed up and behind schedule. I gotta say, my protest didn't get far. Later, I was back at my desk crunching data. This was definitely going to put a damper on my final stretch of the year. This wasn't the issue that gave me more stress. The issue was that one of my teammates that was leaving had been operating the post purchase order award issues, and one particular issue that happened to fall on my lap was a purchase order that my colleague had received an email from one of our requesters to cancel a PO. My colleague did cancel the PO accordingly and informed the requester of the cancellation. He also provided a copy to this requester. However, he failed to inform the supplier and to notify them to cease the work. This particular PO was a blanket PO in the amount of $150,000. The PO was canceled at $30,000 per the requester because they believed that they could find a lower price engineer to do the service. The only way I found out about this issue was because I received a phone call. As soon as he had left the team, I received a phone call from the requester inquiring on unpaid invoices for work that was recently performed. I immediately got on the phone with the requester and requested to know more details as to why the PO was canceled to begin with. The requester informed me that it was due to the fact that the supplier had raised its cost without informing the requester. I immediately requested a copy of the proposal for work, and to my surprise, the requester informed me that there was no actual quote, that it was all verbally done. I would have sent out more quotes for this particular service. However, the requester informed me that they were the only ones that they wanted to come out, as they had already held all the security clearances and were on site the previous year. I inquired as to what was the ballpark figure that the requester wanted to pay, and after retrieving this information, I decided to conference in the supplier and the requester to try and negotiate over the phone the new hourly engineering cost for this particular assignment. After some heavy sparring between the supplier and the requester, they finally came to an agreement on a price. It wasn't the best price, but it at least gave us some progress, gave us traction. The new price was applied for this particular service only. It wasn't for all future services. I went ahead and revised the PO header, and I input the new hourly price, reduced the payment terms for the next billing cycle since we were past due, and increased the PO. I increased the PO back up to 150,000 because we had to reduce it to 30,000 to close it out. This time around, I made sure that everyone received a copy of the latest version of the PO. I also made it a point to point it out to the requester why it is very imperative that we receive a written proposal before we agree on issuing out a new PO. The problem in this case was the miscommunication that my colleague failed to address. One missed email to inform the supplier to cease operations, and it can cost a whole morning of stress. Suppliers are never happy when they have to wait for their funds, as not all suppliers are big corporations. We award business to many small-owned businesses that can't really afford to keep much on the books. This lesson helped show that the new recruit that missing one small step in the cancellation process can come back and haunt you even a year later. I do have to say that when the supplier did call, he was not happy at all. But after shedding some light on the matter, he understood that we were just the middleman in this transaction, and he kind of cooled off. Sometimes just listening to someone vent can go a long way. The positive outcome that came from this was a very insightful lesson about the process of informing all parties involved at all times about any changes, modifications, and cancellations of a PO. This was one of the issues that I inherited from losing my teammates in a heavy season. But at the end of the day, it is my site, and I try and resolve all the issues pertaining to my team my POs, and my queue. Thank you for your time.